Well, the parable in today's gospel comes from chapter 13 of Matthew's gospel, where Jesus spends a lot of time by the Sea of Galilee preaching in parables. And because we're going to hear these parables for the next few weeks, I thought I would start this homily with what some of the scripture scholars say are some of the commonalities that we should look for in the parables of Jesus so that we know how to delve into them and reflect on them. First of all, Jesus' homilies deal with the familiar things, the things of everyday life. When the people on that Sea of Galilee's beach, when they heard that parable about the seed and the sower, they would have recognized it right away. It was something common and everyday happening in their life. And that's very typical of Jesus' parables. Secondly, his parables have different layers, and you have to dig down into them. Father Joe uses the example of an onion. To get to the fruit of the onion, you have to peel off the skin and get down to the point of where you can use the onion. Same thing is true with Jesus' parables. You have to dig down to see what he is talking about. Thirdly, the scholars say there's many different valid interpretations. It's not one size fits all. And that was done on purpose by Jesus. So he gets us to think and react about what he is talking about. And lastly, there's a twist in every one of his parables. Something extraordinary, something that probably really couldn't happen, that you need to listen for. And if you listen for it, that's what's going to direct you to what Jesus is talking about. So why did Jesus teach in parables? Well, first of all, it was a very common teaching technique in Jesus' time. But that middle part of the Gospels kind of gives us some of the answers. The disciples asked, "Why are you doing this?" And he said, the people are listening, but they're not really listening. Their hearts have grown dull. They're not reacting. I'm feeling a sense of hostility towards me from what I'm saying. So he wanted to give them something to think about and react to. And not only them at that time, but us today. But the part that really is touching in there and is something to think about is Jesus says, those who understand are going to get more in abundance. And those who don't understand, even that's going to be taken away. That doesn't sound like Jesus. And really, it's not. Jesus isn't the one deciding on who gets a lot and who doesn't. We do. We do by our reaction to the teachings and the word and the life examples of Christ Jesus. We're the ones that make the decision if we will live in the abundance of the kingdom or we will have nothing. It's our choice. And that's what Jesus is getting at in this parable today of the sower. And in today's gospel, Matthew gives us a reflection on the starting point of what this parable means. See, the sower in the parable is God. The seed he's sowing is his word, the teachings of Christ Jesus, and the example he lived out for us. And the soil, that's us. How will we receive it? So the seed that fell on the path, that dirt, that soil was hardened down, and the word did not penetrate it. And those people just either said they rejected it right off or said, I don't understand, and they did not seek to understand. They just let it go, figuring the ways of the world are better than Jesus' ways. The second level of soil was the rocky soil. And here, the seed got in for a while, but remember the roots, there was no roots, and they got scorched away. It's the same thing with our faith. If we are not rooted in our faith, what we hear is not going to last. If we face criticism or persecution, or we face any very serious calamity in our lives, we're going to say, this isn't working for us. I'm going to be in charge, and I'm going to do it my way. The third soil was with the thorns. The word was received and everybody was excited about it, but the thorns choked it out. And those thorns are the wealth of the world, the lure of power. We get caught up in the things of this world rather than listening to the teachings of Christ Jesus. And finally, it's the good soil. That's the soil we want to aim for, because that is the soil that accepts the word and then lives it out in society, showing everyone they follow the teachings of Christ Jesus and they reach out to serve others. So what kind of soil do you want to be? Should be an easy answer. Obviously, we want to be that good soil. That's why we're here every Sunday. We believe in this word. But the problem is, it's not a simple yes and no answer. This answer needs action, not words. We have to live out our answer if we are going to be living out that good soil and be in the presence of Christ's love. See, I think a lot of people, when they hear this parable, think, I'm going to be this one. And I don't think it works that easy. I think it's more of a sliding scale. I think all of us here shoot for being in that good soil, but we're human. We sin. There are times that even when we think that is and we know that's the right way to do it, Jesus' way, we goof up. St. Paul tells us that in Romans chapter 7. The good that I want to do, I don't do. The evil I don't want to do, I do. Even someone as great as St. Paul admits his sins, and we all have them. So what Jesus is telling us with this parable is this is what you shoot for, but the end of every day, reflect on how you did. Did you succeed? Were you good soil? Or did you goof up? Did you sin? Did you go down into that thorny area and clasp on to things of this world? See, the great thing about Jesus and our God is we have the gifts of not only his love, but his mercy and his forgiveness. And that's the fertilizer that can redo that soil and make it good at the end of each day if we goof up. So the next day we can start out and be the presence of Christ's love in our world. We can be that good soil. We come here every Sunday in the sanctuary or online to hear the word, to listen and hear the words of the Eucharist, receive it. That strengthens us. But we can't just let it happen here. If we're good soil, we have to go outside these walls or outside our homes and be the presence of Christ in our world. We have to show others, and they have to recognize that we love our God above everything else. They have to see it in our actions, and they have to see it when we reach out to serve others, particularly those in need, the poor, the homeless, the lonely, the outcast, the imprisoned, the refugee, the immigrant. Those people and their needs should come above ours. That's the teaching of Christ Jesus. It's not easy. It's very difficult at times. But to be a disciple and show the fruits of the kingdom, that's what we are called to do each and every day of our lives.
Thank you for watching this week's homily here at St. Elizabeth Ann Seton. We invite you to join us for liturgy any weekend that you might be in the area. You can contact us at mysaintelizabeth.com or on Facebook. Thank you very much.